for my children to perhaps build them more wealth. I think it goes both ways because for many immigrant families who are laboring constantly to live, your children are raised a certain way. Your children adopt certain values, which then will become their life and how they live it. When I see folks that perhaps have copious generational wealth, I see a whole different mindset, different ways of treating people. And I see it in my own children too. I feel like a lot of those values, in a lot of ways, begin to get lost when you don't have to work so hard to
This
live.
campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
You probably have questions about COVID vaccines. Here are some answers about how they're being made.
How are COVID vaccines being produced faster?
Usually, vaccine testing and production are separate steps. But because of the pandemic, vaccines are being developed on parallel tracks. So both steps are happening just at the same time.
How are the vaccines being tested?
Right now, several different COVID vaccines are in testing. Each go through multiple clinical trials with up to thousands of volunteers.
How do vaccines get approved?
Not all COVID vaccine versions will make it to the final stages of testing and approval. Produced vaccines that do not pass clinical trials will be destroyed. But for those that do pass, a team of medical experts will examine test results and possible side effects. If the vaccine is effective and safe, it gets approved and gets to you. Go to covidvaccinewa.org to learn more. A message from the state of Washington.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and we're in the spot. This is LidLine Sports. Hit it! Welcome back, everybody. After a 2-week holiday hiatus, LidLine Sports here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world is back. We are live in Columbia City Studio on the south end of Seattle. I am your host, Ren Bean. You can call me Pep. It's fine. And we have, of course, my co-host and colleague, Otis Stevenson. What's happening? Oh,
what's good, sir?
Oh, man.
Feels like it's been decades.
It has been a while, and so much has happened, since we've been off the air. I know that you have been coaching Cleveland High School. You're assistant coach, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing a phenomenal job. I've been checking you guys out. And so, yeah, and of course, I saw you on Facebook with your dapper suit on. Man, you was looking sharper than sharp, bro.
Yeah,
man.
New Year's Eve wedding.
Oh, okay.
Unconventional. I never heard that one before.
Me neither.
It gave me something to do because I had nothing to do, but it was fun.
Man, you look great though, man. I was like, man, that suit is sharp. Yeah, I was ready for prime time, right?
Of course, always.
So, man, we got lots to talk about, folks out there. Of course, the NFL regular season is now over and the playoffs are ready to begin this weekend. We also have the Huskies. They won the Alamo Bowl a week ago or so. And then, of course, we got plenty of NBA news that you're going to bring us later. But first, we're going to start off with what's going on in the national championship. When I left the house, it was 38-7. And, still halftime when I pulled in here. So I don't know what's going on right now. I assume
45.
More of the same. So, I mean, it really ain't a whole lot to talk about, right? Man, TCU is just overwhelmed.
And this is why I'm glad that they're expanding the college playoffs. We can say as much as we want about what Alabama did in the regular season. They shot themselves on the foot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was clear that if not the second best, they were a top 4 team. They were a top 4 team in the in college football, And like I said, I just don't think the top 4 teams played in college football. And, everybody makes an argument about that every year.
Yes.
But also, too, it just showed you the dominance of not just the SEC, but just Georgia, just in general, over these last 2 years. They've been pretty much head and shoulders over competition. You saw a little bit of lapses this year, more than last year. I think they played more of a perfect season. But even then, they still, like I said, were just heads and shoulders over everybody. But they did. Ohio State played them well.
Yeah, I was going to say that Ohio State probably had the best chance, to take down Georgia. Actually, I'm going to say before the Final Four started, I thought Michigan would be the one to have the best chance, but TCU took good care of them. And so, Ohio State did play well. They had what, double-digit leads twice in that game against Georgia. So Georgia showed some vulnerability, but tonight there's none of that. They started off 10-0. Then TCU finally got a score at 10-7, and then they scored the next 35 points. So from what I can tell right now, as you said, it was 45-7. So this is pretty much a formality now.
I think TCU got their first 3 and out to start the second half. That was first.
Because Georgia scored 6 straight times to start the game, and that's over.
Yep.
Man. So, well, okay. The Huskies. The Huskies won the Alamo Bowl. They beat Texas 27-20, beating their old Husky coach Sarkisian. So that was good to see. Did you watch any of that game?
I watched the second half. The game went the total opposite of what I thought. I thought it was going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Turned out defenses came to play. But it was a really good game. Michael Penix had a really good game, and any Husky fans out there should be really excited about what these guys can do, especially with him coming back next season. I'm excited for UW football though next year.
Yeah. I couldn't watch the game because I had to get up at 2:45 the next morning.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll just watch the YouTube highlights. But I did, you know how you wake up and, you have to use the restroom, whatever. So I did that. It was like around 10:30 or 11 o'clock. And I did peek at the score and I saw that the Huskies had won. So I slept a whole lot better the rest of the night. So, yeah, I agree, man. I'm excited for UW season for 2023. Should be, exciting. They were 11-2 this season, and nobody saw that coming.
Nope.
They were 4-8 last season, and then 11-2 now. So, and then of course the portal, they've picked up some newcomers already. Got some running backs coming in, got some cornerbacks coming in. So they should be really ready and raring to go. And of course, Penix, the incumbent quarterback, is back, and I'm sure he'll have another spectacular season. So things are looking up for the Dogs. I'm sure they'll play USC and Utah next season because they didn't get them at all. But having looked at both those teams, I think UW could have taken them.
Yeah, I agree. I thought there wasn't a team that was just head and shoulders better than anybody in the Pac-12. I mean, you saw UCLA get in there and get a win over a top team. USC did, of course. Utah did.
And UCLA beat UW. Yeah. Here's what I wish UW would stop doing, and I think they did next season. I hate the fact that they start off with all these home games, right, for like a month
against nobodies.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
But
they're at home.
Road,
They're getting home cooking all the time, and then they get the false sense of security. To me, then they're 4-0, 5-0, and then they hit the road and they look like trash.
I agree with that
because they don't know how to handle it, and they're getting beat by teams they should beat.
Yep.
They should. I mean, UCLA's good. Maybe you take an L, that's fine. But it shouldn't go the next week to Arizona State and get whacked and then give up almost 50 points.
Yep.
So they got to stop doing that. They got to, play a couple of home games. Yeah, get yourself together, hit the road for 1 or 2, to see who you really are.
Yep.
Because you don't find out who you really are until you hit the road,
Yep.
In college football, to me. So, once they can do that, then they should be fine.
I feel like with the Pac-12, maybe with UW, and I could be wrong.
Mhm.
I just know I feel like maybe they don't schedule these away games. I mean, I know they have a smaller margin of error to get in the college football plays, but I agree with you. I mean, that plays so much going forward in your conference schedule, having to go on the road. I feel like some of these coaches and schools put too much in how they're building their schedule. And I get it. Only 4 teams make it to the college football playoffs, but maybe now with 8, that changes. Or was it go to 6 next year? Or is it 8?
I think it's 8.
Okay, 8. So maybe that'll change. So,
right.
I agree with you, though.
Yeah, because, the thing is, they got these home games, and they're playing mostly cupcakes. And then they play Michigan State, who was not a cupcake.
Mm.
But then their first road game is against UCLA. That's tough. If you're going to play your first road game, maybe you play it against Arizona State, not UCLA.
Yeah.
Because, UCLA, got them. And then, of course, Arizona State, looking their chops, seeing what UCLA did. And sure enough, ran through the Huskies like water.
Yeah.
So then, of course, the Huskies didn't lose another game, which is impressive. And so that speaks to a lot of the coaching and getting their players prepared because they never lost another game. And they had to hit the road at Oregon, right? Yep. They beat a tough Oregon State team here at home. So they did play well throughout. So kudos to that. I can't complain. 11-2. Hey, look, that's outstanding because going into the season, we didn't know what they would be. Nope. We didn't know who Penix was. Nope. We knew none of that. Why can't the UW men's basketball team turn itself around? It's been, how long has Hopkins been here now? This 5-6 years now?
Yeah, 5 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done, sometimes you feel they're getting worse.
Yeah, and I've always said with me, it starts with him recruiting. In my opinion, I don't think he's really tapped in well enough in his hometown. Missed out on a lot of key players over these last 2 years, in my opinion. Luckily, he was able to get some of those guys back in the transfer portal.
He did get a Kentucky recruit, right?
Yes. Got a Kentucky recruit. But then on top of that, too, just how the game is played, I've been said, throw that whole 2-3 zone out the window.
Man.
I hate it. I hate it.
Everybody hates it.
And especially when you don't have even the right personnel
right.
with it. You don't have long wings like that. You don't really have active guards up there. You don't have a real big in the middle. And then offensively, man, they struggled from the 3-point line, shooting. Yeah, and I hate to say it, you never want to discredit a coach and what they've done. And I know he's done a lot of good things at Syracuse under Jim Boeheim, but I don't think he's the right fit.
No, I don't either.
He hasn't created a pipeline.
And the players that have been here his whole tenure, you would think you would see some improvement.
Yeah.
Like a Jamal Bay. He's the same guy. Same guy as a freshman as he is whatever he is now, senior, I guess.
That's exactly what I was just talking to about with some friends. He was like, what players that Romar didn't recruit that he's developed? And
right.
I couldn't think of any. I couldn't off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Jamal Bay was like one of the first names that I thought.
It seems like he's been here 10 years.
Yeah.
But he has
exactly
not
the same player.
Yeah, he's not not that I've seen no marketed improvement whatsoever.
No, I agree with you. 100%.
I'm seeing too many games where he's got single digits and he should be having mid to high double digit scoring, since he's been here so long. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense to me.
I agree with you.
So, I don't know if they're playing him wrong, what position he's playing or what, but maybe he's just not that good.
Well, they played Arizona well at Arizona
they
last
did.
week. So let's see if maybe there will be some type of turnaround.
Well, they lost to Arizona State yesterday.
Arizona State after that.
And they didn't get blown out.
No, they didn't.
Look, we didn't expect them to win, right?
No, I didn't.
But I don't know. Sometimes you would like to think you could see a game where even though they're not playing well for the most part, and you get beat by Arizona, it would have been nice to see them beat Arizona State to like turn the corner,
Definitely.
to get some,
Definitely.
but I'm not seeing anything like that out of them. And right now they sit at 9-8, which is mediocre at best.
Especially when you counter in who they played in the
right, and plus they're 0 in Pac-12
Yep.
play, and that's you can't have that.
Nope.
So well, I don't know. Of course, look, we both think that Hopkins isn't the guy.
Yeah.
Do you have a guy in your mind? Do you think that would be a good fit for UW?
I mean, just knowing how UW hires, especially when it comes to basketball, I'm pretty sure it would be somebody on the West Coast. I think this whole them trying to step out the box and going to get a big name, I think that was a one and done thing now. But I honestly almost because for me that I think the biggest problem is recruiting. I almost like Will Conroy, who's been there.
That's the name I hear a lot.
Yeah, he's been there. He was there with Lorenzo for a year. He stayed with he stayed on the coaching staff. Now he's associate head coach. He's the main face around Seattle who recruits. He's a Seattle bred guy. Grew up in the public school. Went to UW. I would definitely love to see, and I think this is a new wave of, coaches getting a head coaching job early on in their career. I think Will fits that motive too of being a young coach,
Yeah.
So I definitely can see Will Conroy definitely getting a look. And then dang, I can't think of his name. I think he was on our show too. Over at Montana.
Oh, yes. He's got kind of a difficult name.
What's his name, man?
Not to be disrespectful, but some names are easier to remember than others. I mean, it's not like his name is John Smith.
No. I know he's from here.
Yes.
Travis DeCure.
Yes.
I think he would be a good option. He's another guy who has been around good players at the Cal program. I thought he should have got the job there. But like I say, he's also tapped in around the community here. So that's another name. I see. So, we'll see. But I think Will would be my first option.
Okay. Yeah. And like I said, that's the name I hear people, when you see posts on Facebook about Hopkins, all up and down the comments, you see Will Conroy, Will Conroy, Will Conroy. So, yeah, I don't disagree. That seems like a good fit. Well, the NFL season, regular season, it has ended, sadly. Boy, this season sure seemed to go quick. 18 weeks?
I know.
I mean, wow. Okay. So we're going to get into the Seahawks after the break, and break is still in a little ways away. But just to preface a little bit, the Seahawks are in the playoffs. Due to the fact they beat the LA Rams, struggled against a weak Rams team. But you know what? I'm tired of being negative about the Seahawks, so I'm going to try and throw in some positivity throughout the show.
That's where I'm headed.
Yes. We're on the same page on that. We didn't even confer.
Yep.
So that's good. They're in the playoffs, and so we didn't expect them to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
I am one of the first to say, and not ashamed to say, that I gave them 5 wins as a ceiling. I thought that was a lot, so, and then a lot of people, say, I'll give them 6 or 7, or I'll give them 2 or 3. But look, I've had people tell me, oh yeah, I knew all along they were going to win 9, 10 games. Like, come on, man. Come on. There's nobody that looked at this roster as it was built, at the beginning of the season. Okay, now that's a key thing. I'm saying beginning of the season, that the way this roster was, nobody said that the Seahawks were going to be 9, 10 wins and in the playoff hunt. Come on, no way.
No.
You know what? We thought. Look, even the experts, so-called experts, ESPN. Fox Sports, wherever around the country, all had the Seahawks at the bottom tier of the NFL,
Exactly.
between 29 and 32.
Bottom of the AFC West.
NFC West.
Or NFC West.
Yeah.
Bottom of the NFC
Oh,
West.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out they were in the top for a good portion of the first half of the season. 6-3 at one point, which is pretty amazing. And then of course they got brought down to earth. But you know what? They still are much better than we expected. But I'll get into more of that a little bit later on. I want to talk about the end of the regular season, the playoff matchups, the coachings. Black Monday today. Lovie Smith was dismissed from the Houston Texans. He signed I think a 4-year deal, 3 or 4 year deal, and they dismissed him. He was 3-12, and they were in the number 1 draft spot for much of the season. And until yesterday, when they decided to go ahead and beat the Indianapolis Colts. And I think I've been hearing things that Lovie knew that this was coming,
So
he kind of like, look, let's just go ahead and win this. I could care less because I'm not going to be here anyway. So what do I care where they draft? So he kind of stuck it to management. They're putting him in the second position. But you know what? Look, the way it's set up, Chicago and Houston's still going to get a player that they want anyway. It's not like Chicago's going to move up and take the player they want.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I agree.
Yeah, they're going to get, because they already got Justin Fields. So are they going to give up on Justin Fields and pick CJ Stroud or Bryce Young? I don't think so either. So I think Houston's going to be safe in getting the guy they want. The disappointing part in all of this, of course, is back to the local Seattle team, would be the Seahawks. We had them at number 3 for a lot of, the latter part of this season. Denver was stinking it up so bad they had dropped all the way down to number 3, and people were getting hyped up and excited and salivating over that, including yours truly. And then Denver goes ahead and takes care of business yesterday and beat the Chargers, who I can't blame the Chargers too much because they're already in the playoffs. And they already said, look, we're resting people. Sorry. You don't like it, just don't. That's all you can do. It's not like it. So Seattle ends up with number 5 in the draft, and I think I've read some stuff that they're going to be number 20. Their own pick is number 20, and then they got like 34 and something else. So, of course, what's the talk about Seattle and drafts? What do they always say? Well, Pete and John, they always trade down. Well, I've explained to folks before that the reason why they trade down all the time is because they were always in the middle of the latter part, of the first round, which means that the talent you get at that part, you could also get in the early second round and get more for them, more picks. So that's why they did that. But when you're in the upper tier, if you're going to trade down, you better get an impact player. And I'm talking probably a veteran along with picks to make you give that up. What do you think about that?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And then, the Seahawks were also just a good team. So, good teams rely more on, just like you just said, veteran players more than younger players. So, yeah, if you're going to trade down, you want to go get a veteran player. But now we're young. And, I know there's a lot of, not necessarily false hope, but, they made the playoffs this year. I want to go get young talent that you can now build around. The whole era that we just had over the last 10 years is over. It's time to move on. So you do that with draft picks and young players. So,
yes.
I hope that we keep our picks and, make solid picks.
Yeah. I mean, I want to get a stud. They probably, look, they're probably not going to be able to get Will Anderson from Alabama or Jalen Carter from Georgia. But you never know. I mean, depending on what Chicago, Houston, we know Houston wants a quarterback.
Yep.
So, and who's third? Third would be Indianapolis or the Cardinals. It's got to be one of those. I'm pretty sure it's one of those two.
It is going to be
Dun, dun, dun,
the
dun.
Cardinals.
Okay, so Cardinals are
They're
number
not gonna
3.
get a quarterback.
No, but they'll probably
They will get probably some.
they'll probably get an edge
rusher.
because
Yeah.
J.J. Watt just retired.
Yep, I agree.
And then number 4 would be the Colts.
They look for a
They need a quarterback.
Yeah.
So we could still, the Seahawks, when I say we, the Seahawks could still get possibly the edge rusher or run stuffer that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to get me out of that draft selection area, then you're going to have to give me an edge rusher that I want, that's already established.
Mm-hmm.
If you're down there, like in, 8 or 9 or something like that, and you want to move up, then you're going to have to give me something that I want. And then plus I'm going to take your pick.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that there has to be with that first pick what's the word I'm looking for? Like it doesn't have to be go all in on quarterback.
No.
Geno Smith has
absolutely not
proven that he can play 17 games and be a solid quarterback out there. So yeah, I don't. Now if somebody's left maybe with that second pick or that second first round pick,
like Will Levis,
mm-hmm.
Hendon Hooker,
Yep.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm thinking is if you do get Anderson or Carter at number 5, then at the 20, you're probably going to get the best linebacker out there.
Okay.
If the best linebacker out there is better than whatever else you need.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to need the best player for the greatest need at that point. So, and then of course they got an early second round selection. So, so that should be pretty good. Now I could see them trading that down a little bit. I don't want them to. I'd like for them to keep their first 2-3 picks.
I agree.
Because they're going to be early and you could probably really get some talent coming in to do that. So I'm hoping that they keep those and not trade them. But yeah, man, with Pete and John, you just never know. I mean, seriously.
It's every year.
And look, we know. Look, everybody's talking about this draft class was good, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But people forget they've had some serious misses in the last few years.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, D. Eskridge, come on, man. And L.J. Collier. I mean, he's been a healthy scratch. Like last year, a healthy scratch like 5 or 6 times. I mean, come on. And then Darrell Taylor's finally seeming to turn the corner a little bit, but it's taken him a long time to get it together.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've been, hits on these drafts. They haven't. They've made some good picks, but they've made a lot of questionable ones. So, we'll see. But it's almost time for break. And look, after the break, I'm going to tell you why you should be real pleased with the Seahawks right now. No, I'm saying, and I know you're pleased, but I'm saying even more so. So when we come back, you'll find out what I'm talking about. Don't go away. Stick with us.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not shouting, "Badia" at city council meetings, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to
Generational
say.
wealth, as of right now, it feels very inequitable given the identities that you have versus if you are a person of color or not. To me, for this generation, I'm going to have to work really, really hard for intergenerational wealth to develop, especially with the economic system that Seattle's in right now, more than ever. Having been a Seattleite as well, I hope that we can talk about it more. And glad that this conversation is starting and to consider thinking about it more as a person of color and coming from an immigrant background as well.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World. Create your generational wealth for you and the future of your families.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Welcome to the Fitness Corner. I'm your host, Mark Bryant, and you're going to get a whole total body workout on my show, starting off with a warm-up, aerobics, strength training, cool down, and stretching every Friday from 11:30 to 12 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update.
Welcome back, everybody. This is LidLine Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Broadcasting live down here at the studio in Columbia City, south end of Seattle. I am your host, Ren Bean. You can call me Pep. And of course, we got Otis Stevenson on my left. Friends, you can listen to Rainier Avenue Radio tomorrow night at 7 p.m. as the Franklin Quakers and the Nathan Hale Raiders will be battling it out on the basketball court tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. The number 11 Nathan Hale Raiders are 10-0, so you might want to tune in. So welcome back again. I want to say a shout out to Rhonda Dorsey, Nancy Conyers, Michael A. Carter, the usual suspects, giving us some love here and some tips and scores and whatnot on text. So I was telling you guys about why I think that you should be more impressed with the Seattle Seahawks than you already are. And once again, we never thought that they'd be in the position they are right now. And looking at the roster before the season, we all thought they'd win 5 at the most, and then of course you got various other numbers. Jamal Adams gets hurt.
Yep.
First game.
Forgot all about him.
Exactly. Jamal Adams hurt first game, and he was key to our getting to the quarterback, our process in the 3-4. He was probably going to be more of a linebacker, kind of, more so than safety.
Yep.
Because, right now we've got some good safeties now, so Jamal Adams can actually probably do some shifting around, and they can put him all over the place and, he can get to the quarterback. And of course he could do that. And plus, if we get an edge rusher in the draft, bro, that pass rush could look a whole lot different with him in it. And listen, we know he was hurt for the whole season. We know that he got injured a little bit before, but sometimes some of these guys get hurt and they come back even better. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's not go for the negative. Well, if he was out, he'll probably be out again. No, let's forget that. Let's expect him to be here next year and and do his thing, because the guy is only 25 years old, I think.
Yep.
So man, it's nothing but up for him as far as, what he can give us. And the other thing is Rashad Penny. We lost him after 4 games. He got hurt in the 5th game, but he ran for 300 and some odd yards in the first 4 games. He was averaging 6.1 yards per carry, right? And we lost him. He was gone. And now who do we have to back him up? Well, we had to rely on a rookie.
Yep.
And what did he do? Well, in 15 games, he ran for 1,050 yards. Okay. And that's not a surprise to me because coming out of college, I thought he was the best running back in college. So when the Seahawks got him, I was quite pleased. So if you look at that, what they've done since then is even more impressive. And plus, they lost Ryan Neal, right? He got hurt a few games ago. So they had to bring in Jonathan Abram, and he looked pretty decent coming in here. So, but there's a question mark whether he'll be back because Jamal Adams will be back, Ryan Neal, and then of course, whatever. And the secondary got ate up a year ago. This secondary is not getting ate up like they were a year ago. Not close. I mean, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant. Bryant doesn't have the numbers that Woolen has, but look, for a rookie, he's been great.
Yep.
And it's only going to get better. So if you got a lockdown corner in Woolen, and then you got a guy in Kobe Bryant that could potentially be another lockdown, where are they going to throw? They got to take a chance somewhere.
True.
It's going to, so it looks promising. So be happy, folks. You're in the playoffs and you're missing key elements. And of course, Jordan Brooks is out, right? And Barton's been flying all over the place. People have been killing Cody Barton most of the season, but he's really stepped up. So, hey, man, it's looking up.
So I have another take, but it's more towards the playoffs and everything. So
playoffs,
right? So the Seahawks will play San Francisco 49ers. They have the number 2 team in the NFC, right?
Yep.
Rivalry game on the road, hottest team in football.
Yep. So we're not saying they don't have a chance, right?
No, I'm not saying that they don't have a chance.
Look, I told y'all we weren't being negative today.
I was just about to say that. We've just got a whole season of either hearing the realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations. Hey, there was no way if we would have still rewinded this season, you still asked me that you believe that the Seahawks made the playoffs, I would still say heck no.
Right. Absolutely.
And this is the playoffs. Anything can go. Anything can go.
And here's another thing. We know that San Francisco is look, right now they are the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, bar none.
Yep.
They are. They got the best defense, and their offense is structured with so many playmakers.
So many.
They don't need an elite quarterback.
Yep.
They can just fill a guy in there as long as that guy's not throwing the ball away.
Yep.
All he has to do is get it to playmakers: Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, CMC. Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, I just named 4 guys right there. Right? All you have to do is get to those guys and let them earn their money, make them earn their money. He don't have to do nothing. Now, if the Seahawks on Saturday, they play Saturday, right?
Yep.
If the Seahawks on Saturday can get to Purdy, that is key.
Yep.
They must be able to pressure him because he's a rookie. He has never been in the playoffs before. And right now he's feeling too good.
Yep.
You need to make him uncomfortable.
Great point.
Right?
Great point.
And then of course, Elijah Mitchell's back.
Yep.
So they need to stop the run.
Yep. That's my main key.
Yeah. If the Seahawks can pressure Purdy and get a handle on the run, the Seahawks have a great chance to upset San Francisco.
Yeah.
Seattle plays well down there,
Yeah.
okay, except for, they didn't this year, okay? I get that. But normally, the Seahawks have a winning record down in Santa Clara, so they can keep that up. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think it's just so funny that all the unrealistic expectations we're hearing them all. But now everybody wants to be realistic, talking about, oh, this is going to be the Seahawks' last game of the season. But it was a good season and all that. I'm like, I just don't understand.
Well, it may very well be.
And maybe
so what?
But, yeah.
Here's the
I
thing.
just want to keep the optimism going as
Right.
we've had all season. Don't let it die down now.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm hoping they don't, if they lose, let's hope they don't get blown to smithereens.
Yes, of course.
I mean, like 40-3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It could happen, but let's hope that it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope they lose. If they lose, it's 17-13,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I can live with that, you know? So, and plus San Francisco, you know, they, like I said, you know, Purdy's too comfortable. Let's make him uncomfortable.
That was a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got any other matchups?
I was going to ask you what the matchups are you excited about this wild card weekend?
Well, you know, the first week is kind of hard to get excited because you got the like the 2s versus 7s.
I got one.
Okay.
I'm excited to see the Jaguars.
Yeah, good one.
I'm excited to see the Jaguars at home
Mm-hmm.
against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Let's see what Trevor Lawrence can do in his first playoff game in the NFL.
Now, I think they played earlier this season.
Uh-huh.
And the Jaguars destroyed them.
Okay.
The Jaguars signed a lot of guys during the offseason, and I raised my eyebrows because I was like, "Whoa, they're trying to do something."
Yeah.
And then, of course, early in the season didn't start off so well, but then they really poured it on, and they ended up 9-8, like the Seahawks.
Mhm.
You know, and they came back and won that division, the AFC South. You know, Tennessee was a fraud all season.
Yep.
You know, I got 2 big frauds. Tennessee's a big fraud. And believe it or not, the Minnesota Vikings are a big fraud.
I agree with you.
I mean, look, I get it that they're 12-4 or whatever. They're number, I think, what are they, 3 or 4? I think they're 3.
Yeah.
I think they're 3rd seed, so they play a 6th seed. Who's the 6th seed?
The Giants.
Okay. Ooh. I don't like the Giants.
To beat them?
Yeah, but if they're in a close game, it's going to be tough. Okay. Minnesota's been blown out. Every game they lost, they've been blown to smithereens. And then every game they've won, which is 11-0 on 1-score games.
Do you think the Dolphins have a puncher's chance of beating the Bills?
If Tua is playing.
Okay.
If Tua's not the quarterback, man, it's going to be rough.
Oh, is he hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's been hurt the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know, and then they've had Bridgewater, who was terrible, and then they put in Skylar Thompson, who has been, you know, mediocre at best. But they beat the Jets. You know, the Jets struggled. You know, unfortunately for them, you know, they've been struggling, so they could. As a matter of fact, the Jets didn't score a touchdown in the last 2 games.
Wow.
They only ended up with 6 points. And then Miami, scored 11 yesterday. Mm-hmm. So then they're not lighting it up.
And do you think I know it's probably he's going to play, but how good of a chance do you think that Lamar Jackson will be on the field for Baltimore?
He's playing.
Okay.
He's playing.
So I have a question.
Bruh, because who do they play?
They play Cincinnati.
Oh, yes, that's right, because they just played there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got to play. So, if he's not playing, they're done.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, of course, the competitor and everybody's going to say, like, yes, I'm playing. Knowing you're coming off knowing that you're coming off a pretty big injury that's kept you out for multiple weeks, you've been in this contract dispute with Baltimore all season. Is there something in your mind that's maybe saying, you know, let's just hold off and let's get paid first?
Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think he will. But if he doesn't, then we know that his relationship with the Ravens is fractured and that he might be elsewhere, you know, next season. Because they're not paying. I mean, because they franchised him. So he's going to make the upper tier of quarterbacks, but it's still not what he wants.
And it's only a 1-year deal.
Right.
You don't get the whole guaranteed money from the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yes. Oh, of course, we can't talk about the NFL and not mention the Damar Hamlin. He was released from the hospital today. And I'm so pleased to hear that. So shout out to him, his family, the Buffalo Bills, who, in Cincinnati, they were phenomenal on how they conducted themselves and, how they did. And it was unfortunate that some hate was thrown towards T. Higgins, which was terrible because this is football and this is a react, sport. So, you're going to, if some guy's going to come hit you, you're going to try and hit him. So he did nothing wrong. And I'm so glad that Hamlin is recovering and out of the hospital. So, I'd be, amiss if we didn't mention that. So,
Definitely.
yes.
And we got one more game, right?
Tampa
Bay.
Yeah, in Dallas.
That's gonna be a fun one. I mean, just the Dallas Cowboys, Tom Brady. It's Monday night.
Excuse me.
I can't. I haven't seen enough consistency out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensively to say that they're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. But
yeah, it looks to me a struggle for them.
Yeah.
For both though, but what?
Yeah.
Dak's been a turnover machine.
Yep.
He's thrown an interception in 7 straight games.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the most interceptions in the NFL, and he's missed 5 games.
Wow. Dang.
So that means he only played 12 games. So yeah, that doesn't bode well. Oh, and if you want to compare, Geno has 30 TDs and 11 interceptions. So there you go.
You never count on Tom Brady ever. So and they have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, they've been wishy-washy.
Yeah.
They seem to say, all right, let's go.
Yep.
And they turn it on. Then other times they don't feel interested. Like yesterday, they weren't interested.
Yeah.
Let Atlanta beat them. Yep. Against the Seahawks, they were very involved. Yep. It seemed to me that they had some kind of special plan, it seemed, because they were the worst running team in the league throughout the season, actually. But even during that time, by the time they got to Germany, they were last in the NFL in running, and yet they ran all over the Seahawks that game and controlled the clock like nobody's business.
Yep.
And if you let Tom Brady control the clock, you're done.
Yep.
You're not going to win.
Yep, I agree.
But you know what? So that's what's happening right now in the NFL. So
football, baby.
Playoff football. It starts Saturday. 2 games Saturday, and 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday night.
Yep. Perfect.
So let's get into overtime, man. OT.
Man, the NBA. Man, honestly, this is probably the most least interested I've been in the NBA for a long time.
I wonder why.
Oh man. Started right at the top.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of things. But yes, of course, you guys know out there I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, and starting at the top, it's hard to even watch them. So to even want to watch even any other type of NBA basketball, my spirits has been really down over the last month, Pep, when it comes to the Phoenix Suns.
I know. I've been thinking about you, bro.
Man, just a segue in, though, just giving you guys some updates on the standings, starting right in the West. It just seems to me, Pep, that there's a new leader at the top every other week when it comes to the West.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of factors when it comes to that. I mean, you see a lot of these teams that are supposed to be contenders, like the Clippers, the Warriors, the Suns. They're all battling 500 basketball.
Right.
And so you see those guys all now in a play-in scenario. The Warriors have been playing a little better since losing Steph Curry. And there's actually news that he's probable tomorrow. So looks like
the Warriors and Suns, man, you sure find out that if Booker's not playing or if Steph's not playing, you got a good chance to beat them.
Definitely. And that's what, like, going down to the Clippers on a 5-game losing streak. And it just sucks because that it just has a lot to do with those guys just not playing together on the court for very much long. And Kawhi Leonard is on a minute restriction. Paul George is in and out of the lineup. John Wall's in and out the lineup. And I just don't know. And unless they make it to the Western Conference Finals this year, it's almost about time you just go in a different direction when it comes to where you're going with this team, because you're dealing with, well, first of all, your best player, like I said, is in and out the lineup every other game.
Oh my gosh.
And then your second best player is almost right behind him. It's you bringing in a new energy into Inglewood, a new arena.
Mhm.
I just don't think this is how you want to bring in a new team or bring in a new arena and
Right.
all that. So, I just think that if they don't make it to the West Conference Finals, I feel like there will be some moves being made over at the Clippers.
What about trade deadline next month?
I think that they have enough. Like I said, I just think for them, it's just getting all these guys on the same page and trying to play as many games as possible for the Clippers. So I don't know if they'll make any major moves. But the other two teams that are fighting down there, the Warriors and the Suns, I think they will definitely be out there looking for trades. I mean, we've seen with the Warriors when they were healthy, they've had issues with scoring off the bench. The younger guys are not being able to produce as what they thought that they were coming into this season. Klay Thompson has been playing much better, but still a little inconsistent. So I would not be surprised if they open up the roster for those young guys to see what they can get for those guys. And then, man, the Phoenix Suns are a fire dumpster right now. Pep. It starts at the top. Devin Booker's been out. Chris Paul's been in and out of the lineup. He just hurt his hip. Who knows how long he's going to be out.
Right.
DeAndre Ayton, man. I don't know. I mean, there's clearly friction going on with him and Monty Williams, him and some of the players on the roster.
I'm surprised he's still there.
Man, I think he's not able to be traded till this month.
Oh,
because he just
that's
signed a
right.
new contract.
That's right. That's right.
But come the trade deadline, I think that he's going to be on the trading block. Now, what the Suns will be trying to get back, of course, is players who are able to help a team right now. But yeah, it's just sad to see such a young talent.
And plus Chris Paul, man. I mean, look, he's not getting any younger.
No,
so that window is like sliding fast.
Yeah, and it's like you're almost in a you can't really take two steps backwards to go forward, because you also have a young nucleus in Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, and possibly DeAndre Ayton if he stays, and Cam Johnson. You still need to find a way to open that window for the next 5 to 7 years. So there is no just losing players and not getting back pieces to help. But I mean, the most important thing to me, I think, has been with the Suns is there's just no depth. The Suns cannot score.
Isn't that crazy?
Man,
I never thought I would hear a Suns team that can't score.
Right.
Because over the years, you talk about the Phoenix Suns, man, that's what they do.
Yeah. No, you're right. And
man.
To see it come down to even this, they honestly look worse offensively than they did when the Suns were bad like 4 or 5 years ago. They look worse than that offensively.
Oof.
So if this team wants to not punt this year and they still want to try to get these guys to buy in to compete and contend for a championship, I think out of every team in the West, that is the team out of all the contenders that has to make a move. There's no reason you just give up on this season. And then we can't get out the West without talking about the LA Lakers, but we have nothing negative to say this time.
5-game streak.
Winning streak without Anthony Davis. But I think even more impressive is just seeing the ageless of LeBron James just, what's that saying that Father Time is undefeated, man?
Right.
I don't understand how he just keeps ducking it year in and year out. Just turned 37. The dude averaged 40 points a game last year, leading them to 5-0 last week. He was just named Player of the Week. Man, I know while he's still playing, man, that just the MJ and LeBron James comparisons, man,
I'm so sick of those.
I know. I
hate
know.
them.
I know.
I hate them. I hate them.
Maybe because you're a little older, so
right.
You've seen this. This is my first time witnessing a greater player playing towards the end of his career, and you know the inevitable is coming.
Yes.
So just seeing him be such an amazing player still this latter in his career, man. Now, yes, it'll be great. And LeBron's made it known. He did an interview on ESPN2 on Saturday that he didn't say it, but he said it that. They talked to him about the trade deadline, and he said, "You already know what I want to see. It's not on me."
Yeah, the F-bomb in there too.
Exactly. Yes. He wants to play for a championship. It's not just about him coming out here and putting up numbers on a team that's not even competing for a championship. So the Lakers are another team. Will be definitely aggressive trade deadline, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Now over in the Eastern Conference side, a little more stability. Over there, the Boston Celtics have been in first place all season. But they had their little lapses.
Yeah, they gave up
last
150 points to the fake Sonics
without Shy Gilly.
Yes,
that was very alarming.
They had like what 7 guys get 20 some odd points, something like that. That's crazy.
And I think though with Boston, they were playing almost dang near perfect basketball over the first 2 months.
Right.
So it's not really too much to worry about. But that was an alarming game, definitely to me. But I wouldn't worry too much for that. But that name in the second place, the Brooklyn Nets, the team that has been through so much over the last year. It's almost the cameras are now off them, the focus are off them, and they are just playing basketball. We knew talent-wise, you have a guy, Kyrie Irving, who is playing at all-star level. Kevin Durant is having one of his best seasons of his career. They're showing why that the GM and front office was so putting up a wall of not wanting to get rid of these guys. Now, Kevin Durant just sprained his MCL.
I didn't know that until you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, so
man,
I know. So
and I'm a Nets guy.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna see how well they can hold. If they can stay 500 with him out, they'll be just fine.
Okay.
Well,
look, from all the stuff about Kyrie. He's my favorite guy to watch playing basketball.
Yep.
I mean, Kyrie is just phenomenal.
He's literally a magician.
I mean, he is. Him and Zach LaVine. I love watching them play because I like their demeanor. I like the way they carry themselves on the court.
Yep.
It's just so cool. It's like, man, that's just. I don't know. I don't know what other way to put it. I'm a fanboy. I don't know, but. Those two right there, I could watch them all day.
Rightfully so. And segue into that real quick before we get out of here. That's going to be another name to look for the trade deadline. Zach LaVine, we've been hearing over the last month or two that he's having an issue with the Chicago Bulls organization, his role, the head coach there, but also Trae Young in Atlanta.
Right. Him and Nate not getting along.
Him and Nate McMillan not getting along. These are two teams that are close to the bottom of playing in the play-in. So we're going to see what happens there too. And then my power rankings before we get out of here, Boston Celtics at number 1, Denver Nuggets, who, like I said, they're first in the West now, number 2, Memphis Grizzlies, the Brooklyn Nets, and man, most probably young, exciting team to watch this year, New Orleans Pelicans at number 5 for me.
Yeah, and then Zion's
hurt
in and out. That
I don't get with all this science and stuff when it comes to why is there more injuries now than ever? I don't get it. With young players on too.
Yeah, man. I it's crazy. So yeah, man. But I've been watching the NBA a little closer this season than normal.
Sorry, I just saw the score. The national championship game is 72-7. Wow.
Oh my God.
That's embarrassing.
I mean, they need to quit.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you for the update, guys. That's crazy.
Yeah. Whoa, my gosh. I'm about to stutter. But anyway, we're out of time, and I want to thank you, for doing such a phenomenal job.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. Next week, I'm sorry that we will be off again because of MLK holiday, and the station has other obligations. So you will see us in 2 weeks. So thank you for listening to LidLine Sports here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Holla.